Basically what we were seeing is that a lot of kids didn't really engage with the paper. As you can kind of see back then, or I guess last year rather, a lot of the colors are faded. This doesn't look very much like a high quality publication, despite what we see on our actual screens. It just had a lot of problems translating to the actual paper. And so what we decided to do is that we changed printers, and this one out of California, it's called Apprentice, was able to provide us a lot higher of a quality of printing. This is like a magazine-esque quality for about the same comparable price. And just if you look at the difference, this to me looks pretty, it's just like a dirty kind of print, versus this is a lot sharper and a lot cleaner. And before, this is like a tabloid style, this is magazine. Before that we had like a broadsheet, which is more of like what a classic newspaper looks like. But just kind of as you go, I think, into the new era and just into the future, a lot fewer people are reading actual newspapers, and a lot more people are picking up entertainment magazines like Time or People, and that's where they get a lot of their news and information from, versus from the local daily paper.
The Clarion Kernel is also asking students to help the staff decide whether or not to keep the traditional name or try something new.
We had considered changing the Clarion Kernel just because of the new format. Just looking at judging for different news magazines, which is what this would be now considered, a lot of their names are a lot more artistic and a lot more, like, I guess regal, you could say. And so, moving from more of a tabloid traditional news, the Clarion Kernel to me sounds very tabloid, very broadsheet, versus names that I can just think of that are very notable. The North Star, the Muse, the Scout. Like, those are all, they're just like a different type of name. And we've ultimately decided that we aren't going to change the name simply because of that tradition. A lot of kids identify the Clarion Kernel with our newspaper, but that was the reason I had considered changing it.
The definition of clarion is loud and clear, and a clarion call is a call to something that is hard to ignore. Seems like a good name for a newspaper. What other changes are new between the folds?
Well, funny thing, this is about 12 pages. The one we're going to do this month is 32, and we've decided next month we're going to go to 48. And so usually our long ones last year were 32, and then this one will actually be considered our 32 beginning issue will be one of our shortest. And so it's not that we're about cutting content, it's more about just because it's so much cheaper, I guess, to do that. It's only, I think, $200-300 more to do 48 pages instead of, obviously the smaller one. And you're not really losing any content. It's just going to be spread over more pages because you have an 8.5 by 11 versus this more like square kind of format.
So we actually might have more content. In terms, with the 48, we would have more than we would in our typical like 24, 26 pages that we had last year.
I just hope that the student body is pretty receptive to our changes. I've gotten a lot of good feedback, but I just hope that everyone realizes that we didn't make this change necessarily for us as a staff, but really to engage and, I guess, make the student body more aware of people around them.